This is going to be the last update on the disc bind until I actually run it. So we had a surprise. You guys saw that in, I'm assuming, the last video, where I'd already known that I had to replace this and that, and the bearings, that the bearing holders up through here. We did 3 of those because they were starting to get wore. Not bad, but they were starting to show wear and tear. And going through and doing a bunch of the work that we're doing to this 735 Moco right now are hopefully going to be the last that we have to do for several years. And because I just turned it around, so you're actually facing into the sun now, but the belt, I was wrong on that as to how much that was going to cost. It was over 200 bucks, but $200 over, say, another 10 years, it really isn't all that bad, because the old one lasted right around 13. The piece that is actually back behind this pulley, that was $100 more, so I was wrong on both accounts. $100 more than I thought it was. I was thinking right around 400 bucks. I think it was like 530, or it wasn't 600, but it was up there. And I actually opted out of doing the whole piece, even though my friend did go ahead and did tell me that he didn't recommend just replacing the bearing, for the same reason that I told you in the last video, that the bearings, when you replace them, they do tend to fail rather than replacing quicker than if you just replace the whole piece. This wasn't bad to get to. I put the Never Seas back on, I hit it with the WD-40 that it needed, and it should be good. So all I got to do now, because I already told you that I didn't do it last fall just because of the fall that we had, we got to go through, do the teeth or the blades, which it's dirty under here. I know. I actually would have preferred to get it washed, but just because of how the year went, it didn't. So I'm going to go through, do the teeth, blades, change everything out, grease it, wash it, or probably wash it then grease it. All right, well, true to my word, this is going to be the last update progression video for the 735 Moco. I keep finding more wrong with it. Granted, not major stuff, but stuff that it's just like, you know, I really should do something with it. And the last one, somebody's trying to keep Grandpa on his toes. I actually have these, there's 3 shields on each side of this. They're actually called deflectors now that I just ordered them. This one's fine. This one's fine, although it looks a little twisted. And the lower one over there is fine, but the 3 major ones, the 2 back ones, the ones that these bolt to, on each side are getting replaced, and then the upper one, it's completely gone, as you can probably tell. A couple $100 bucks. It'll help the crop flow through more efficiently. I haven't really had any issues. I was missing that upper one for a couple years, and it really didn't hinder the operation of this machine. But the big thing that made me call up and order parts is, as you can see, this has a crack all the way up through. It's actually missing part of the plating, and I was actually, it's parked here because I was going to go through and tack weld it. I figured I wanted to call up parts guy anyway, again. And I just asked how much they were, and I think the most expensive one was 77 bucks, and $77 is actually pretty cheap compared to everything I've done to this machine so far, at least this spring. So I already pulled off a turtle shell because this is the end piece. I gotta clean this up before I put it back on. But one of the shells was getting bad. Show you that real quick. They get worn. You run them for so long, and the constant, and somebody's gonna go start a fire. All right. The thing is with these, they wear because the crop is coming around as it's turning this way. The crop is hitting through here, and as you can tell, metal does start to wear away. I cheated I always do with these. It saves you money in the long run. Actually, you're able to flip these because a certain number, I think 3 turn counterclockwise and 4 turn clockwise. So what I do is I just swap them out, so you get a little bit more life out of them that way. And this one, I think it's right here. What made me go ahead and change it out was this crack. It's worn right here, but it's actually starting to crack out even more. And one of these ends, well, I don't think you guys can see it, but it's actually cracked out. Yeah, it's actually cracked out from on the edge, and it's already right about there busted out. And it's just a good preventative thing to get it swapped out before it breaks out entirely. I've actually had these break out before where the metal all the way through there is busted. These crop lifters, Grandpa actually had me go through, and we had these on all of the shelves at one point. Oh, I know, because I'm the one that went through and put them on. I don't like them. Reason being is if you actually hit something, I mean, it's Southwest Wisconsin, rocks exist. And what happens is there's only a bolt and a pin that hold those on. And the problem is if you hit something hard enough, it'll actually throw this out of line. So when you go to change blades and try to get the bolts out, you can't. So then what happens is you have to, well, my cure for it is violence. Hit it with a hammer and push it back to where it can at least allow a bolt to get up through it. I'm not going to replace these. I actually have 2 up in the parts bin yet, but I'd rather not put them on just because the other style are just so much simpler. When they start to wear out, these come off when you take the bolts out to change the blades. The blades are not brand new. See, they're all kind of got a little bit of a bend to them, and they're worn. I flipped them. For first cut especially, I'm not going to go through and put all new blades on because first cutting is the worst cutting, just because dirt and debris through the fields, it's hard on the blades. I do have 60 new blades ordered. They're the 18-degree high lift blades, which actually create more vacuum, allow you to pick up more material that's on the ground, because we are making a lot of really heavy grass hay, and it helps. So I never did like the low, was it 8 degrees? The low profile blades that John Deere has. I mean, they cut all right before you flip them, but it seems like when you flip them, like right here, they don't perform as well. They don't wear as nice. I mean, you get a lot more wear out of them when they're right side up as opposed to when they are flipped over. And just to show what I'm talking about, because those are all flipped, what I'm talking about is when I put a new blade on, I put it on just like that. It's right side up, but see the edge, which I don't really feel like, I think John Deere really dropped the ball on these. I don't like this design simply because the edge is on one side. On the other side, I mean, so it cuts better in this direction, but to me, when you cut this, you flip it over, I just feel like it doesn't do as good of a job. It doesn't wear as nice. New Holland. For a couple years, I actually was running the New Holland blades, and what that actually had was the cutting edge, like right here. It was the same edge on both sides, so that edge wasn't upside down. I felt like it did a better job. Plus, they were pretty. They had a pretty big lift on them, and I thought they cut awesome. But it got kind of old having to go clear over to Platteville, because that's where we got them from, at the New Holland dealer over there, just to get blades. And we don't typically go over there very often. It's nice. One of the arguments that is easily made when it comes to running a certain color primarily one color of machinery, is if you're running just green, red, blue, pink, at least when you need to go get parts, it's always the same dealer. You're not running to different towns, different stores to pick up a bunch of various parts just to do one job. So if I have a New Holland disc bind, but I have a John Deere tractor, I need parts for both of them the same day. You're running chasing stores just to get parts. I've never did enjoy doing that. Our Bobcat was a pretty good example of that, because there used to be a Bobcat dealer in Potosi and they lost their dealership or they sold it. I don't know. I don't care. But Dad used to go work through them. So it went from our local Bobcat parts dealer was in Potosi, which was, 3 minutes that way, to get filters and oil for it, to having to go 45 minutes to not quite Dodgeville, it's actually up in Cobb, just to get our filters and whatever fluids you need to run the Bobcat. Ritchie's in Cobb is what it was, and I guess Ritchie's just bought Finney and Lancaster earlier this year, so I did see that they actually have Bobcat up in Lancaster at the new Ritchie's store. So at least that is nice now that we can just go to Lancaster and get our parts, our filters for the Bobcat. Myself, I actually would rather go get a John Deere skid steer. Actually, Dad has the Bobcat, Ryan has the JCB. I am still partial to the John Deere skid steers because I demoed 2 different John Deere skid steers in the same day a couple years ago, and they won me over. They really won me over. So, all right, like I said, I'm gonna have to find something else to talk about for a while from here on out, at least until we go to actually use this machine, because this is gonna be the last update on the 735 Moco. That's everything I have left to do to it, between the cutter bar, the turtle shell, and I'm gonna go through and change the oils in the cutter bar and the gearboxes. But hopefully that'll be done tomorrow. I can work in the sprayer. They are calling for basically a week of rain, a week of a little bit of rain, a lot of a little bit of rain, not a week of a lot of rain over many days. They're calling for up to like a ½ inch at the most for one of the days, which is good, because like on my low ground that I wanted to get the hay made sometime in the 1st of June, if we get a lot of rain, the water just doesn't drain off that well, and that already puts back my haying season. So with that, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.